3, 2.
Wow, you want me to do it?
That's what she said.
Yeah.
What up,
hello.
what up, what up? It's,
I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, episode 6. That's number 6.
6.
Yeah. 6, that's what's up, yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah, because we just did 5 for the grain, so that's 6 for the, telling you. No. Well, I mean, I guess. Dude,
Six.
Well, all right. So yeah, you know what? I was watching. This goes back to a previous conversation we had about being a celebrity. So not so much that they're known for their intelligence, even though many of them are highly intelligent. I was watching this thing with Morgan Freeman where he was, I think it was on BBC or something like that. And he's going to a curator, I think, for original text of the Old Testament or something. And she's gone through it, and she found evidence that 666 actually points the finger at Nero. That the beast was actually Nero, or Nero was the representation of the beast, or the satanic one, the big evil. Yeah, right? That's kind of like interesting. Whether that's true, I mean, because that's the thing. I mean, it could have been. I mean, that's the time it was written in. Maybe that could have been the embodiment of. I thought that was a pretty cool. That was interesting. I mean, you say that's.
There's an interesting thing that
What? No, it's all right.
I had to pause for that.
You always have to pause for that.
Well, you're signing your work. I gotta.
That's pretty good. I like that.
But then finding stuff like numerology within the Bible. That's always fun.
Well, it's like if you go looking for it, you're going to find it. I think that's what that kind of points to, right? That
you seek and you shall find.
Well, yeah. Or even Master Oogway of if you go look into a void, you're still going to bump into. Right? What was it? He who avoids his destiny is. Oh gosh, what was it? I remember this. It was in one of the.
Oh.
He who avoids his destiny often meets it on the road. Oh man, I forget. I'm butchering the crap out of it right now.
Often, yeah. I think you need to put those two parts together somehow.
I don't know. I'm all. It's me downstairs mix up.
Get your merds wixed.
Yeah, dude. It happens sometimes, right? The intent is there though. No, we would have to.
That's some old foghorn leghorn stuff.
What you talking about now? What you? Hey, I do love me some foghorn.
Now look at here, son.
I'm a chicken hawk. I'm hunting for chickens. Yeah, that's whatever.
You're doing it all wrong, boy. Anyhow. Yeah. So.
Yeah, number 6.
Number 6, and we are. I don't think we're starting off with any corrections. I think we're.
Yeah, no,
kicking around some ideas for.
I think I said to you, I'm at a place now where I've gone back over a bunch of my stuff that I've actually put together a list of green room stuff that I should be bringing up to kind of correct a few of my statements. So at this point, if somebody who's listening is probably like, oh, okay, you know what? I've already sent this in. They're gonna do it. Maybe we fix it in editing. Probably not. This is the original. So we have to fix ourselves. So if you're listening to this, you're like, hey, I'm going to fix what he just said. If this is less than episode like 20 something, no, we already fixed that ourselves.
We don't pasteurize or homogenize. This is all just raw.
We do patronize. Just kidding. Don't you patronize me, boy. Yeah, no, we do get saucy sometimes. We Socrates it up here, right? I think that's another piece of I'm telling you is the Socratic method. It goes back to that whole iron sharpening iron, as you said, stone sharpening stone. It's making better. Just having that example of.
Well, and having the conversation itself, like we've been saying before, is part of the process of it's like finishing off your thinking. You know, when you have to actually put something to words, and then you're like, okay, now I gotta come correct because I gotta have this make sense so I can put forth my argument, if you will, or my
statement,
my statement, my impression,
manifesto.
Here we go again. My impression is, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be an argument, but
yeah, your position, your statement, your stance.
To be more non-combative, you know, an argument sounds bad. Anyhow, I don't know, dude. What do you? Something about Oh, black sheep. I don't know.
Pardon me. Yeah, we can. That was a suggestion I had. Because, I mean, you and I, and I think this is where I even said to you in between break that you're succumbing to my idea of keeping this as organic as possible. I had made the suggestion of, like, let's just make sure that we kind of keep ourselves on track, possibly, keep us corralled in a sense. Let's write down a phrase, a statement, a word. And you were kind of a little hesitant to that, and I was just like, oh, he's feeling how I do. Okay.
Well, the last episode I didn't bring anything.
Yeah.
And this one, I mean, I had notes. I mean, there's stuff in there, but it's nothing like, real deep to go over. It was just like,
well, deep or not, this is always a platform where, one, it's organic. That's the big thing, because we want it to come out raw, natural. We also want to make sure that it's a open platform so that it's welcoming, but it's also something that's almost cathartic in nature, because we get to get rid of those feelings or statements. We get to put it out there, even if it's not our view. Devil's advocate. We get to play the what if game. You call it critical thinking, or not? Your thought experiment. The what if. This is a giant what if. We get to just put it out there and play that.
Well, like, you ever play those thought experiment?
See,
okay,
my
Terrence Howard thing, right?
Right.
You say you were born with that, where you really can't differentiate between one sense and the other. They all kind of bleed into each other. So to experience music, it's like, it can at times probably even be like sensory overload, because you're seeing and tasting and feeling and all that you're getting from the sound somehow. Like that it's basically synesthesia, right? That's what we're talking about.
Correct.
But just to use that itself as a thought experiment, like what would it be like to live like that? And I mean, automatically I jumped to the idea of, if that's maybe one step closer, or a half a step closer to what reality really is, what are we as human beings really missing out on? That, because then you jump to a whole different conclusion. You're like, well, man, I mean, if you're on this frequency, who's to say you can't see X-ray? You can't, these other frequencies that we need machines to look at. What if you could pick that up? What if you could sense that?
Yeah, I think we had that on a past conversation. There's practitioners that, like Reiki-wise, energy kind of a thing, can basically look at a patient and assess the issues, whether it be cancer, but in a specific location, whether it be a heart thing or a head thing, and then they go and see the professional, get the test done, and all of a sudden it's the same information. It's congruent, and this is somebody who read you. They didn't even get a chart on you. They might take like a few minor stats, like, all right, blood pressure or pulse, or but they really don't get too much information, and they just like.
But this is what I was saying about lost technology. Like, this is not accepted. You know, like, you want to do that, that's fine. You have to pull out of your pocket to pay for that, which it's worth every penny. If you're getting, you know, you don't have a charlatan. If you're getting your money's worth. You know what I mean?
You talking about like a sensitive or medium or something?
Right,
or?
but if you're lucky enough to find the person that's not a charlatan. You know, because there is always that, you know, that would be my fear, is that I'm going to get somebody who's just...
I will say this, as far as I'm aware, my perspective on that would be, there is more hootenannies, flim flam, shenanigans. You know, there's more BS than actuality. So to even find in the sea of crap is pretty impressive. And then when you find that one person, get your worth out of it, because it really does help you in a grand scheme, big time.
Yeah, I've never found anybody like that, but it's not that I ever really went looking per se, but
I lucked out.
When I was looking into,
I was gifted.
When I was looking into the whole Reiki thing, I mean, this goes back 15 years at least, 20 years, when I first started looking into it. I didn't have a connection with it, like you're saying. You know, I wasn't able to find anybody who did.
This was only recent that this has been gifted into my life.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, it's very cool. Made a massive difference in who I am and what I'm doing. Very much so that I'm continuing this path, and it's.
But yeah, same type of thing.
I feel it's starting to make a positive difference
to be able to experience something like that firsthand. Like, how do you look at anything the same anymore?
You don't.
Right. I mean,
I don't.
Everything is now looked through with that. I mean, I almost want to say rose-colored glasses. Like, anything's possible, kind of.
Where I'm at with what is going on, I have learned to prioritize in a much different fashion. There are things that are of way greater value than most of us will probably ever witness, because we are too busy with superficial value. And that is a very sad statement. Those of us who embrace the positivity of that ability, we live. We live. There is no fear of death. There is only fear of not living. If that makes sense. I'm not afraid to die. I'm afraid to not live.
Well, that's the way it should be.
I'm gonna get up and try to find a way to live a little better every day. It sounds to some people right now, that probably sounds absolutely ludicrous. Dude, you just got to get up and find a way to smile through today. I don't care what hand you have been dealt. It's your choice to play it. And I guarantee you, everybody in this world, you have the same ability to just be the best you can be, and take the hand you're dealt, play it as hard as you can, and enjoy that.
And I don't know how much this helps like the average person, but my dad always used to tell me, and I think it helps me, is that no matter how bad you think you have it, somebody out there has got it worse, and they're still smiling. Like, and that
there is so much truth to that.
You know,
so much truth. Until you actually have to like be responsible for another person's life, you don't really get to understand that. Until you like actually take true accountability for life, once that happens, man, you start to value things in a whole different level too.
Right. Well, and maybe even the way that you judge the rest of the world.
See, and I would say I'm in a place where I would prefer to use the term understand or accept things as opposed to judge them. To me, judging sounds almost negative. Where it's
no, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about definitely the.
I'm looking more to have if there's any kind of sense of judgment, it's because I'm attempting to signify to me what this thing is, whether it's a construct, idea, persona, image, etc. Whatever this thing is, I'm attempting to give it a name just so I can categorize it in my brain so I can remember. You give it, the due respect of this is what this is, and I'm happy to associate with you as this. You know, to me, I always equate it to Bambi, right? When the skunk's in the flower patch, and Bambi looks at him, he's just like, flower. And they're like, that's not a flower, that's a skunk.
It's okay.
Right? And the skunk's like, it's okay.
You can call me a flower.
He can call me a flower if he wants to. It's like, right?
If he wants to.
Yeah, but why? Yeah. So why can't you be? Why can't you be, right? Just because everybody else wants to call you skunk doesn't mean you can't be a flower. Dude, if everybody wants to call you ugly, who's to say you're not a butterfly? Like, come on. Don't listen to the BS. If you think you're beautiful, then you're beautiful and you know it.
Well, you know, it's and all this means nothing, and it can be taken away in a moment, really, and
Well,
that's the truth about it.
And that's why you got to live every chance you can.
Those out there that you think you're beautiful and that's going to carry you, that's only going to get you so far. You know.
Oh, you're talking about physical beauty, not internal beauty.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, physical beauty means absolutely nothing.
Right, but to me, if you have that internal beauty that exudes to the external beauty, that's a true beauty. That's an aura. That's an energy. You can see it. You can sense it. I mean, animals love it. You know, blind people can see it. Deaf people can hear it. True beauty. That's a blessing. But yeah, if it's superficial. Anything superficial is not. Same thing if you think money's going to do it for you. Yeah, money's not going to make you happy. If you think being beautiful is going to make you happy, it's not. You think making money's going to be no. Whatever it is.
Well, I mean, happy's a weird thing too.
To me, happy is letting the insides out. Whatever is on the inside of you, whatever that inner child is, that thing that you got to do. Like you're always talking about, whatever that thing is, that your nirvana, your place of this is what I do. This is my wheelhouse. When you find that thing. That's beautiful. You let that out. Let that be your art. That is beautiful. Live that life.
I mean, like
that's what I'm about.
The happiness thing, though, like the people that strive for happiness in life, it's a difficult task. But I can't, and I don't know how it's different. It just is. But joy, because I can experience joy even when I'm shedding tears. When I'm sad, I can experience joy all the time because it's the joy of experiencing anything.
I think we're getting into semantics on it.
Well,
not to disagree with you, but yeah, that's your perception because I guess happy is almost simplistic and joy gives it more reverence. Is that a fair statement?
And I don't know, and this is where like words just kind of fall short, but I just think of it as like happiness is like, okay, I got a new car, I'm happy, you know. I got a new thing. A lot of times I think of it as something like that, something that's.
So what you're saying is happiness to you is more towards that, you know, capitalistic idea.
Today,
of possession.
The person I care about is happy with me as a person, so I'm happy, you know. But all these things, they can change, they can shift. You know, joy is something you carry a little deeper inside, I think. Joy is something I think more akin to faith, hope. You know, joy. It's rooted in me. You know,
it's almost like you're saying happiness is like status quo.
Even when I'm down and all I want to do is just be by myself, like it doesn't mean I'm depressed and sad and I'm, you know, having suicidal thoughts. It just means I need that. I need to go through with that, and then I'm fine. But it doesn't mean I don't love life. It doesn't mean that. If anything, it's quite the opposite because, well, and we can go into this at some point, but, you know, I've touched death. And I come back from it, you know, and I think I've started looking at things differently ever since I did.
I can agree to that statement very much.
I mean, I have a real tough time not spending some time every week thinking about really, you know, some really deep shit, man. You know, just stuff that matters, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, all intents and purposes, bro, you shouldn't be here right now with me. Like, that's for real.
Well, no, I absolutely should, but it's just wild. Like, yeah, I mean,
well, yeah, I mean,
how is that?
the difference of what 30 seconds to a minute that could have been in that situation. But yeah, that's a real thing. And yeah, when that's almost because I can't say I've actually had a near death. I did have an accident when I was 8 that was pretty severe, where I wound up hitting my head and I was basically blind. Like there was a flash of light and I was blind for what felt like, minutes, but was probably more of like seconds, if that, because I was probably just dazed. But still, I was sitting in the front seat. I'm 8 years old. Should not have been sitting in the front seat. There's no airbags, right? The seatbelt didn't do squat. Cracked my head on the dash that's like 6 feet away from me. But yeah, and the EMT on site was just like, you're lucky. Like you probably should have done way more damage than you should have. Especially with the fact of the way the seatbelt
could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, like I honestly should have like really just possibly tossed into the windshield or something, or who knows what. But yeah, well, man, you never really know. But
what happened when I was 17?
About that, yeah,
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 that was like every parent's nightmare. And it was just strangely enough right out in front of my house too, but. Yeah, it changed me though. I mean,
yeah.
And even at the beginning of this journey, 2-year journey now, I'm saying this whole kind of really just looking for God. I'm looking for the answers. I'm looking for whatever I can find.
You're just digging.
I'm digging because if I got free time, why not? I mean, never really got into church. They don't have the answers for you. They give you a sound bite. Do this, this, and this. I mean, the Catholic actually are really good at that. I think I wasn't raised Catholic.
Man, why are you always picking on people? Talking bad about Canada. Now you're talking bad about Catholic.
I know. It's true, but it's not anyone. It's religion.
I jest.
Religion itself, it's a physical manifestation of something that shouldn't be.
Centralized religion.
Your temple,
not spirituality.
Literally, and you should pray with a small group. I don't have a problem with that at all. I mean, but the temple is really here. The church is your whole body.
Well, I think that's
and you're an antenna.
Well, yeah, the original text, the definition of church was basically like the conduit to God. So wherever you're at, where you're praying, where you're putting your energy to God, that's your church. I think is the original explanation of what that is. And then it turned into centralized religion, where now all of a sudden you're given to the church because you need to build these meccas for your God to show prosperity. Like look what we've done for you. This is a beautiful thing. To sacrifice in a sense, to be humbled, and now you can see where some people just kind of carried away with that. But hey, every system you're going to have imbalance. Goes back to that 80-20, right? You're going to have a lot with a little, and
yeah, I mean, anytime man gets involved, I mean, it just becomes to some extent a dog and pony show. It becomes a means to make money, and for something that's completely intangible. Like people come to you for hope. You know what I mean? People come to you. They're not necessarily looking for answers. They're coming to you. They're looking for hope. They're looking
guidance, acceptance, something.
And it's just so easy to turn that into a profit. Turn that into. That's why I've always been like it's something very personal that you have to have. It's got to be a really personal connection. There's no amount of Hail Marys you can say that's going to get you that connection. Like, you have to actually do the work. You actually have to dig deep. You have to, and like you were telling me, like, you've done some of that. Like,
You got to ask the hard questions and answer them too.
so in a lot
honestly.
of ways, that's exactly what I've been doing for the last 2 years. Is like
Attempting to be impeccable.
like Phil Langdon would say when he talks about the great work. You do your studies on the external world, so the sciences, the arts, stuff like that, and then you delve into the internal world. So you go into the psychology, the philosophy, the even history of the human race, and
Well, that's what's great about, you start to get,
through that you discover more and more about yourself, and that's what the whole point is that
when you start to get a wider perspective, yeah, you can get a greater sense.
so
Yeah.
by not wanting, like, that's what I like. I start having these conversations with my dad, and he just wants to reference TV shows, which I've told you I do have a few shows like that I'd like to watch, but I don't like to waste a whole lot of time on that. And he's like, "Oh, Mr. Serious." And it's like, well, no, it's just I feel like I'm wasting time, for pure entertainment's sake, when I could be learning something.
Well, see, but that's the thing, is like, it goes back to, what if this is a video game and us living this lifetime? So say maybe you live to be, 80 years old, right? That's your lifetime. You get 80 years in this video game. We know that when playing like The Sims or, Grand Theft Auto or any first-person perspective game, to do a lifetime of, say, like 80 years could be done in a couple weeks, right? I mean, heck, maybe a couple hours, a month at best. So the perception of time at that point is completely skewed. You can live a lifetime's worth of knowledge in the matter of weeks. That's like Inception, right? When you go like 18 layers deep or something, and all of a sudden time folds 20 times or something. So when you get to be, so in that perception, it's, why would you be so serious in this? Why wouldn't you be trying to enjoy every single second of every single day, knowing that you could just be learning instead of stressed out, trying to figure, how am I going to pay this? How am I going to do that? You know what? Just stay focused and stay positive and enjoy the moments.
I think when I get with my pops and I'm, excuse me, and I'm talking about some of this stuff, and he was asking me, he was like, "Would you ever read anything just for fun anymore?" And I'm like, "Well, this is fun. Like,
Personal journey should be.
This is entertaining for me." And he's like, "Wow, it's so serious." And I'm like, I mean, yes and no. Like, I don't take myself that seriously. I mean, I joke around, I have fun, but I can't think of it any other way. I just feel like I'd be wasting too much of my time if I was to just watch TV.
Well, you're looking for a deeper purpose, it sounds like. Something more than just doing your thing. Like,
And to some extent, this started when I was, I guess, 18.
oh yeah.
But I just started revisiting it a couple years ago. So it was always something that was really close to my heart then. And it's funny, and it'll come back around to this, and eventually I would like to introduce this particular book, or at least the concept of this man here.
I mean, we can make that a whole episode.
Yeah. What? Here. All right.
Because you even said to me, like Jordan Peterson, we started talking about him in the green room. I'm up for having a conversation about that guy, or somewhere inclusive of that, because he's a dope individual. I think that's why I like the idea that you and I can get like stuck into a conversation, and when we get to a point where it's like, all right, cool, this is beyond our threshold, let's get said individual and or local of expertise knowledge, bring it on, and
Well, we've already. All right, we can talk about water towers. Like, we've already proven that we can talk about anything, right?
hell yeah.
Wasn't that the whole?
Oh yeah, dude.
So this whole conversation is about water towers. Yeah.
I think it was like a 12-minute conversation. I mean, maybe closer to 6. I don't know. There was definitely some amount of time in the math of that. Who cares? That's the great thing about this show, honestly. But it's
Yeah, but that's one of my problems lately. Is like the last two, this one and the previous episode. I didn't even write anything down. It was like intentionally. I was blocked every time I thought about writing something down because I'm like, it just feels unnatural.
well, when you have forced
Like I want to kind of try this idea a little bit further. Like, you know,
expectations, when you can just let it be, just let it go.
Well, and one of the things I'm working with is in listening to these episodes after the fact. I don't feel like I have that kind of connection. Like we don't have the connection with each other that we need to have. We need to be a little bit more on point with, so we're kind of bouncing off each other a little bit more.
Yeah, I think we started getting into that on the green room, where we were talking. Yeah, I said something about the equipment and being involved kind of modifies. You have to be cognizant. We're trying to have this just be like absolute free flow. When you have to be cognizant, you know, now all of a sudden the free flow is a little bit difficult to deal with because you're being aware. And when you're being aware, you can't be free flowing. Yeah, you're trying to surf on a wave that you're like, hey, look, the wave is doing this. You can't do that. By the time you realize the wave is doing this, it just like engulfed you.
You know, I found it was so hard to stay on topic when not only am I getting caught up in what you're saying or not getting caught up, maybe I'm getting caught up in what I'm thinking I want to say next. And that's where I'm saying I kind of want to just slow down and just be in the now. More so that
this is the now.
We're going to do that again?
I mean...
No, just to be in the... Not turning around looking behind you, but... yeah, just to be in the now. So, not thinking about anything while you're talking, to be able to take it in and just kind of let the conversation flow a little bit more naturally. And
my opinion is that with time, you will have that flow. Your brain will be programmed to cause you to have the actions that, just like when you get into your car and you start driving to work, and all of a sudden you're at work and you're just like, wait a minute, how did I get here? Because you were so lost in thought. Yeah, we've all done this. Don't even lie. 20-minute drive, 30-minute drive, 45-minute drive. You just show up. You're just like, what the? Oh, man. Yeah, when you get lost.
Or you remember back in the day.
Dude, when you get lost in your thought like that.
Couple times, Jesus drove me home.
Yeah, well, that's another story. But when you get lost in your thought, that's a whole nother thing. When you start to program your brain to say, hey, I'm going to drive my car to get from here to there safely, you can put yourself on autopilot. So as you get used to using this equipment and being in that component, your body's programs are now going to be autopilot, where it puts you in place so that you can just do your thing. So give it a little more time and things are going to be that much more beautiful. Yeah, there's no pressure. Who said anything about pressure? What is it? Why? We all good in the hood, baby. It's all gravy today.
But yeah, that was just one of the things I was thinking about in review, was that, you know, not only were we talking over each other at times, but then you realize, you know, I'm listening to the conversation after the fact, and I'm like, I don't even remember you saying that, you know, because I was thinking and talking at the same time, and you were talking, and, you know.
Yeah, you missed something, I missed something. Yeah, there was, yeah. I've been making my list to Green Room of, hey, this is where I messed up. I'm going to correct and come correct. And yeah, I'll put myself out there. I will humble yeah, you have to, right? The rules are the rules for a reason, and we all do. The manifesto is to keep all of us. This is, you know, rules of engagement.
It's like the honestly thing.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna be dope with you, you know.
I'm gonna be dope with you right now. I like that. I do. I'm gonna be honest. I like that. I'm
straight up dope.
Yeah. Instead of saying I'm honest, like I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm just saying I'm gonna be dope with you. Because I think that's more impeccable. Because that's what I'm gonna do. It's like if I'm about to break off knowledge, be like, all right, I'm gonna be dope with you.
Money, bring it.
Who you, Vince Vaughn now? Your money, baby. Your money. Who's the big winner here? Mikey. Mikey's the big winner. Mikey. Yeah, no. I'm gonna be dope with you. Yeah, but that's a program. So
Word.
as you continue to program your brain, yeah, you're gonna start to have that better flow of conversation. You'll be less conscious or cognizant of what you're doing. You'll have to be less aware of your surroundings and so on. Yeah, you'll be more in the flow.
You're right there.
I am A-OK.
A-okay. So how far are we in now? Am I allowed to? Is that rude to do that in mid? Yeah.
Well, it depends. I mean, if it's dead air to the point that everybody's like, wait, what's going on? That's why a visual would be great. I would love a visual of this. Not always, but sometimes.
I like the cartoon idea.
Well, maybe if we like chop it into segments, if we do like little like 10 minute, 12 minute, 15, 20 bite, something like that. Just a little section, cartoon it, hand puppet, something.
I mean, even if the cartoon was so simple that it just, like, the image changed every 20 seconds, or maybe more often, like, based on whatever's coming through the speaker, obviously. Put little goofy things up.
I don't know. In time, we will tell.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, this will already be rectified
by the time
editing.
you're listening to this, who knows?
Yeah, I know. Eventually, at some point, somebody's going to listen to this and be like, what do you mean? It's already doing that. Be like, I think they fixed this. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, it's going to look weird. Cognitive dissonance. We're messing with everybody at this point.
Yeah. Messing with your whole world. It already had happened.
Yeah, what had happened was they were in the now.
It had already been happened.
Well, so going back to that whole, like, you want to be in the now. You brought up, again, the manifesto, as I call it.
Yeah.
Which I think could also be stated as rules of engagement. Because you said while you're saying, hey, it's for me, I also kind of feel that this would be the SOP, the standard of procedure for this. Like, that's why I was like, I feel like the manifesto is the correct word.
Well, that's kind of why I wanted to
laminate it.
I mean,
make it official.
Bring it up now, but I said I kind of want to cook it down. I want to.
Well, you clean it up.
I want to freebase it into a really powerful message, that's a little bit more easy to chew, simple to understand.
Matter of fact, to the point.
I want to talk right down to people in a language that they can easily understand. So,
you want to put it as succinct as possible.
And my original thought was to create something that would be basically like, you need to be read in before you get on the mic.
Yeah, right. It's almost like
you
the
read
test.
This and you sign it just to show that, like, hey, I was here, I saw you read it, we read it together. So you understand, nod, yes, okay.
Yeah, I think
it applies to you the same that it applies to me.
I think you had the word contractual, or maybe I said contractual to that point or something, but you agreed to it.
Well, because if you look at it, and because that was one of the things I was saying, I was looking at it not only as a way to remove myself, but to remove other people that enter the group that don't follow our guidelines. But
right, being aware of, like,
everybody
read the
has
room.
to read it in. Everybody's reading as if they're me in that instance. So
correct.
If I clean it up and just make it, I agree to blah blah blah, and just make it.
So you want to make it more contractual. Almost.
Yeah, I just cook it down. Like, if there's a line or two that I could swipe out or make or improve on.
Well, I would say this is just
because what is it? It's 2 3/4 pages long.
Well, but written out and typed out is different.
Let's see.
So I mean, what it is typed out in manifesto form.
Yeah,
to be a very small booklet of like 3 pages or like 12 pages or.
I don't know if did you want me to actually revisit it now?
No.
Or okay.
No.
It was just basically a couple guidelines, things that I thought would be important to follow in having the type of conversation that we both agreed we wanted to have.
Well, and that was my point of it too. You're stating the now, like you want to have the conversation. It's like you're attempting, you are being open to and willing of, so you have an openness and willingness of the idea of embracing as organic as possible, where it's, hey, let's just see what happens. So much so that even your statements of your contractual components, the manifesto as I call it, embodies that. And as you said, I'm pretty sure your language was, it's not just for me, but for everybody. So, specifically I speak of me because that's my bias or my perspective, but it's not just for me, it's like for everybody. And I called it as like reading the room. So if anybody gets to that point where everybody in the room is basically looking at that one guy, it's like, all right, you're being, what, and you're a part of the problem, not the solution. I like that
part when I'm listening back to that episode. It's like you're kind of being a dick.
I do. Well, what did I do? It is like Lumberg and whatever else, and
it was funny. I was just laughing every time I listen to it now. I crack up.
And we could use you over here. Could you just go ahead and just sit down and then, right? Yeah, no, but that's exactly it though.
Well, that's where I started in with the okay.
Your statements that you make in this, as I call it, the manifesto, I feel not only is appropriate language for this platform that we're doing now, but just in general.
Oh, that you could almost carry this over to any other side project. You might change a couple words here and there.
Right,
but,
it's a solid guideline for listening and actually hearing somebody.
Well, and showing the due respect that, and that was, like I said, my simple way of boiling it down to the golden rule.
It would, to me, that's like the 4 agreements. So pops in my mind.
Yeah, it's like, I want to make it as simple as possible. Everybody understands that concept.
Take the 10 commandments and turn it into 4 rules.
If you want to be respected when you're speaking, then what you do is you respect others when they're speaking.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So, if we try to adhere to that understanding, and I understand it, it's an effort and a reach sometimes for me. I have to curb some,
but
reactionary stuff sometimes, we all do.
Just like, because 1, we're human, but 2, we have our programmings. So even somebody who's been working on these things for years at this point, I still have my moments where, again, I'm making my green room list where I'm going to come correct and modify my statements. We do all have these things. And,
What do you have? What do you call them? Pain points. Like
they can be, or they can be learning.
Things that if they come up, you're like, all right, I don't get me on the topic. That's really not going to turn out well.
Like empirical.
No, that was just more of an embarrassment thing. That I was like, really no, but it's a different kind of concept because it's not straight. It's not straight logical. It's based on an original perception, but an ability to quantify that perception.
I wince more on the idea of embarrassment. To me, the fact that we could have this conversation is exactly what this show's about. There should be no embarrassment.
Maybe somebody else learned what empirical means.
Exactly.
Because I thought I knew, but
and again, my green room list. So there's things where I've misspoken, and this will be rectified. So we all do it, especially if we're trying to be raw and in the moment. We know we don't have this fact checker that's helping us out and like spitting in additional components. Right. It's just us. When we have an additional guest or other components to that, it's going to modify the conversation. But in the same regard, it should go back to that idea of the manifesto where, if either one of us, me included, starts to step on the conversation in a manner that is disruptive, where instead of having that free flow, organic, all accepting platform, if anybody's messing that up, I'm sorry to inform you, while we love and appreciate you, you need to take that outside the door until we're done. That's it.
Oh, and that was,
Yeah,
that was the way I worded it for my very own self.
Well, that's why I agree with it.
If what I want, and that was my thinking. You see what I'm saying, though?
Yeah, because you want to keep it in the now, and I appreciate that.
Well, that if I'm willing to subject myself to that, that's how serious I'm taking this.
I agree.
That I'm starting with subjecting myself to that instead of starting with, hey, if you step out of line, I'm going to do this to you or I'm going to do that to you. It's if at any moment you feel I'm out of line, you show me the door.
And to me, so the thing that popped to me right now was the idea of conditioning, where you have conditional or unconditional. Unconditional being all accepting, conditional being like, well, if you do this, then that. You get an ipso facto. If this happens, then this is what's going to be from it.
Yeah, a condition.
Right. So you're So, hey, I'm going to, what you said, love, I'm going to love you unless you do that. In the manifesto idea, it's very much more, as you just said, because it's, hey, even I'm subject to it, just as, I am. So you are, I am, any of our guests are. There's a humbleness that's kind of built into it where it's not a condition of you're going to get my love or acceptance, because that was, and you said that and I agree with it, because that usually becomes that idea of conditional. If you're just disruptive to the flow, then hey, cool, whatever, you're just off to the side. Otherwise, then it is what it is and you're all good. So otherwise, don't even worry about it. Because that's what it should be. It should be unconditional. It should just be all accepting. So there shouldn't be a condition on it. And having the rules where it's like, hey, this is just what's fair. It's not even like, hey man, this is the way it's going to be, and this is what's going to happen if you don't. Like you said, there's no condition to it. It's literally just like,
the condition wouldn't affect our friendship. It would just affect.
Well, but the statements is like, hey, you're either a part of the conversation or you're going to be asked to be removed from it. Because if you're not being a part of it, then you are removed from it. And we're just going to make sure you know that. So there's no condition.
Wait,
it's
what
just
were my words?
I don't know
the
exactly.
Sanctity.
Sanctity. Yeah, there you go. I like that.
The sanctity of the conversation. But yeah, I mean, to speak of it highly, it should have a certain sanctity. What? I mean, we're holding this in high regard.
I'm holding this in high regard.
Yeah, exactly. This is not. We don't take this lightly. We may joke around. We may goof. But that's just for entertainment value. But
it's also to keep it light, levity, honest, because it shouldn't just be like, well, I can trust in this. It also should be just a free-flowing, I trust in this. And so you have to be jovial. There has to be a lightness to it. So yeah.
Anyhow.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty good.
That's not bad. I mean, if we were really riffing, we could go on for probably an hour.
We can
15,
always. I know, who knows? We can always go. But that's the thing is, once we get to that point,
we got kind of a late start tonight. So,
well, it is what it is. We're banging it out. That's what she said. Yeah.
Stop it.
But yeah, no, we'll go ahead.
Well, it's been fun. It's been short and sweet. I think both parts of the episode are almost.
Oh, we're gonna re-listen to this, and we're gonna hit this. We're gonna come back with more.
Hit this.
We're gonna hit it good.
So yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Gemini.
Absolutely.
Been a pleasure.
Yeah. Good night, everyone.